Welcome to Disabled Investor Channel. I'm Patrick. I'm a disabled investor. I am visually impaired, and today I'm trying to be less stupid, in the words of Charlie Munger, the late great Charlie Munger, may he rest in peace. That was one of his sage but pointed pieces of advice: is you got to be less stupid than the other guy. So I'm trying. No guarantees, no promises. I think I did some bonehead things today. I know I did in hindsight, but I know that I also did some smarter things, I believe, which included making 9 trades today and securing myself against the short-term volatility that we're experiencing by buying long-term equity anticipatory securities, leaps, for a number of stocks. I sold leaps that were going to expire in January of 26 and instead bought the leaps that'll expire in January of 27. My reasoning is this year we don't know. Negotiations are ongoing apparently between the White House and the rest of the world, so when is it going to be resolved? Your guess is as good as mine. I can't see the future. I wish I could. I'd be a lot richer, but I don't. So what I've done is bought those options that expire in 27. Rocket Lab, Reddit are two of the main ones that I focused on today. Position in Vanguard Total World Index, MSCI World Index stock, ETF, whatever it's called. VT is the symbol. I unloaded what I had in that, which was about $8,000, $7,500, somewhere around there. And instead, as I said in a previous video, I am reducing my exposure to the United States, not eliminating it, but I intend on moving most of my money that are in ETFs out of US, strictly US funds. Now, again, trying to be less stupid, what I did is I bought VSP, which is a Canadian dollar version of the Vanguard S&P 500 fund. So it's a Canadian dollar version of VOO. I bought that because when I get dividends, if they're in US dollars, I get hit with exchange in my registered disability savings plan. And anybody who has one may be familiar with this, that they only allow you to have that account in Canadian dollars, or so far that's all I've been able to get. So every time I get a dividend from a US ETF or stock, I get hit with exchange, and of course the bank takes their cuts. I know I'm getting hit with exchange this way as well, but it simplifies things in my mind, and that's my overall goal, is to simplify things. I also unloaded a couple of shares, a couple of options that I had for NVIDIA. I had 2 options for NVIDIA that expired in 26 that were priced with a strike price of $250. And at this point, I don't see that happening. I might kick myself later, and that might have been a bonehead, stupid thing to do, but what are you going to do? So I did that. I also bought an ETF called VI, Vanguard International, and it excludes everything inside of North America. So it's investing in all developed economies outside of North America. My reasoning for that is, at the moment, things outside of S&P and TSX and all that seem to be doing pretty good, and I want a piece of that. The VT Total World Index that I had before was duplicating some other things that I had, so that's why I got rid of it. Also, I wanted to control my exposure to the US and not just invest in everything. I wanted to just invest in the S&P 500. So I'm covering a lot of ground here, but those 9 trades, they cost me a little bit of commission. I pay $6.25 to National Bank every time I make a trade of options. It's what they charge me for option contract purchase and sell. So I paid that a number of times today, I guess 7 times today, and that's what happened. Hopefully I'm being less stupid, but time will tell. And as far as I can tell, going long on the options makes sense because you reduce what they call time decay, where the price of an option decreases over time because it's going to expire soon, and what do they call it? Theta, time decay. Anyways, the longer you hold an option, the less it's worth. So giving myself, what do we got? Might as well say more than 18 months until expiry. There's time for the U.S. to go through their potential recession. Who knows if it's going to happen? You know, say what you will about Trump. Maybe he's onto something, maybe he's a madman. I reserve my judgment, I don't know. But I know that I don't like how he's going about things. And I'm concerned that the uncertainty that the States is going through right now is going to cause a recession there and potentially in the rest of the world. So my thinking is that by having 18 or so months, 20 months to get it right, these options that I bought will hit the strike eventually. The other options that I bought today were for Meta, expiring in January 26. I did not buy the 27 option for that one, just on the price aspect of it. But as Meta recovers after their trial with the DOJ or whatever happens there, I expect the stock to rebound. So I don't know that it's going to hit a $1,000 strike price this year, but you never know. And boy, that was a mouthful. That's what I did today. In terms of how it resulted, I am down today. Last time I checked, let's just take a look here. Last time I checked, I was down $1,500, which, you know, that's pretty stupid. Considering that had I been strictly in the S&P 500, I would have been slightly up today. But, you know, short-term pain for long-term gain, as they're saying in the States for what they're going through. I'm expecting that I've done the same thing with my portfolio. Anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, everyone who has. And please feel free to leave a like, maybe a comment. If you're feeling charitable, maybe you can subscribe. And even share this with some other people that might learn from my mistakes. And maybe, you know, by me being less stupid, I can help other people make smart decisions because they can see how badly I've messed things up. Anyways, tomorrow's another day, another chance to make some money. And with talk about reprieve for the auto industry and auto parts, it's potential that there's some potential that there might be a recovery in the works. Who knows? Anyways, hope you had a good trading session, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Cheers.